You're listening to Packers Talk Network.
Do you want to experience the thrill of a Packers game at Lambeau Field? If so, be sure to get your game tickets from the longtime trusted source in Wisconsin, Ticket King. Visit their locations in Milwaukee and Green Bay, or just go to their website, theticketking.com. Again, that's theticketking.com.
Why are you a Bears fan? Why do you continue to be a Bears fan? And what's your Twitter handle? Have a nice day.
Don't even let him answer the question.
I was going to say, just cut him off before he even answers it.
We'll never unmute him.
Oh, I'm gonna go so angry Jim Rome on you, Brian. It's gonna be ridiculous.
Check New York Bozo! New York Bozo! New York Bozo!
I got to get my biceps a little bigger.
Yeah, you can always work on that.
Or I could sure use a hot dog with chili.
You know what time the game starts? Hey, you got any left-handed footballs? We need to fire him. Is anybody else tired or is it just me? Good thing I'm in shape. You got any eligibility left? I got some advice for y'all. Take 2 weeks off, then quit.
Good evening, Packer Nation. We are trying to stay positive tonight on this episode of Pack to the Future. I hope you guys have kind of found yourselves in a relatively mild mannered mental state here, because I know things can get a little bit heated after a loss, so we're not looking for any of that hot sauce tonight. We want some nice mild sauce, and we're gonna bring it to you. So, Brian, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm a man of wild and raw emotions. I can't keep it mild. That's not me.
So you're hot sauce tonight.
I'm always hot sauce, baby.
I remember you wearing those N1 Latrell Sprewell, or those Data Supreme spinners from Latrell Sprewell in high school basketball. So I know
that was the only thing going for me I had in basketball, man. I wasn't good at anything but wearing shoes that got me attention.
I mean, those refs, they were just watching the shoes and not counting all those 10 steps you took to get to the hole. But that's fine.
It's flattering that you think I ever got all the way to the basket.
It worked. That's the bottom line. It worked.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Brian, well, thank you for joining us tonight. Jordan, how you doing tonight, bro?
I'm doing okay, guys. I'm doing okay. It's good to be with you guys.
It's always good to be with us. And Jordan,
mild sauce.
So mild on that one, Jordan.
Definitely Taco Bell fire sauce right now. It just hasn't come out yet. Give it a few minutes.
Is that because you ate Taco Bell before you hopped on the show, or
it was a couple days ago? But the fire sauce added a lot to the soft taco. It was a good decision.
Love it. I love on the mild packets. It's like, say hi to your mother for me, and then on like the fire, it's like, your stomach is going to be eating itself tonight. It's like, I love their slogans on their packets. Anyways, why are we talking about Taco Bell sauce packets? Dusty, come into this discussion right now,
because this is a Packers podcast.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, Dusty? How you doing, bud?
Nothing. I'm doing all right. It was yesterday was rough, but yeah, it was a nice fall day today. I got to leave work a little early. Went to a nice local brewery. Sat outside, had a couple beers with family and friends. It's life isn't so bad. So I'm doing all right. Doing all right.
There's nothing that helps.
Nothing like beer to put a Packers loss in perspective.
That's what I was just gonna say, but Brian jumped the gun, so it's fine, Brian. It's cool.
Sorry, I'm doing your job for you.
I feel like I cannot get through an episode without like correcting Brian for interrupting me, and it'll just probably continue the rest of my tenure here on Back to the Future, and I absolutely love that. But continuing on, guys.
Which won't be a long tenure here if you keep on reprimanding me.
We'll see who wins. We'll see who wins, Brian. Tonight we have a very solid coin toss segment lined up for you guys. There's a lot of points to hit in this game, and It's never easy losing at Lambeau, and we're gonna try and make some sense out of all this. So our first question tonight is gonna be the run defense. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott, yeah, give the guy some credit. He's a very phenomenal rookie, and he kind of had his way with us, but he was going up against a run defense that allowed the second fewest yards in NFL history through 4 games. So something has to give, and I want to know what we should be looking for with our run defense going forward. So we're going to bring in Brian and Dusty in on this one, and if it's heads, Brian, you're going to tell me that the run defense is in no trouble and that we should be looking at another historical season being put together here by this run defense, okay?
All right.
And it's tails. Brian, run defense is in trouble. Go ahead.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, they put up all those historic numbers, but man, as soon as they got up against a good offensive line and a good running back, they just got torched. And, you know, I might feel better if some of it was missed tackles, but I think they had 5 missed tackles on the day. That's not a lot, to be honest, with how slippery Ezekiel Elliott is. But they just weren't getting the same penetration. They weren't plugging the gaps the way they normally do. It's just, as soon as there was some adversity, all of a sudden that run defense just disappeared, and it disappeared in a big way. I was very encouraged actually in the first half because there were some 1-yard runs, 3-yard runs, and I was actually feeling pretty good, even though they'd given up a decent amount of yards in the first half. But they just got worse and worse as the day went on, and I don't know. It's really hard for me not to be worried at this point because, 4 games against not good running backs and then 1 against one good one, and they just got torched. It was like they weren't even there.
All right, Dusty, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Brian's points were all, I don't know, fairly good. It's fine, I guess, for Brian. They were perfectly okay, I guess. I mean, I can't say that they're going to go back to the level that everyone kind of thought they were. They weren't. I mean, we talked about it last week as well. They were on a historic pace. I think they were right at, before this past week, right at 2 yards per carry against opposing running backs, which they're, again, historic pace. And I think it was 1.8 before the Giants game where they just ripped off a couple long runs. They're not as good as they looked in the first 4 games, but they're certainly not as bad as they looked this past week. I think calling the Cowboys a good offensive line or a good running back, that undersells the Cowboys. They have a very, very good running game. They have a good running back. Elliott looks like the real deal, and beyond that offensive line is one of the better lines in the league and has been for a while now. That's the legit line, probably the best we're going to face all year. Again, I mean, it comes down to they were not as good as they looked. They're not a team that's going to shut down every running game. They face some really bad running games, but they're not going to give up close to 200 yards on the ground every game either. They just ran up against a very, very good running team. I think going forward with Pennell back, they've shown some guys. Joe Thomas has been dynamite in the middle. He's shown he can shut down some stuff. Clay Matthews has had some moments setting the edge. Mike Daniels is a monster, of course. I think they're going to be a better run defense than we thought they were going to be coming into the season. They're just not as good as they looked. It's just a bad opponent at a bad time. I think that's really all it comes down to.
Okay. Brian, out of my not necessarily charity, but I feel like you've been given some very tough questions lately, and out of that aspect, I'm going to give you the win on this one because it's really hard to say that this run defense is not the real deal. And I applaud you for your effort, and it's an A for effort that grants you the win. So there you go, Brian.
I'll take points out of pity. I'll take points out of pity over no points at all.
Didn't he win last week? I'm pretty sure he won last week.
Shut up!
Shut up! Are you paying him? Is this through Venmo?
God, mute Dusty. Somebody mute Dusty.
How are you paying him right now, Brian? You can tell me. It's fine. Just tell me off air. Just tell me off air how you're bribing John. It's cool, man. It's cool.
You know, I take
I don't know what you're talking
I'm,
I take bribes.
I'm going up against Jordan in a couple questions, so I'll get a win here.
Yeah, for sure.
Ooh, bazinga! Hey, Dusty, you're right. You're right back in on this one because I want to continue talking about this defense here, and the cornerback play in particular is what I want to know about. I mean, what can we even say about that performance? It was close to as bad as it could possibly be, and I want to know if the Packers can win without Shields, Rollins, and Randall. Like, our top 3 cornerbacks are out, possibly not playing this week against the Bears. Who knows what that situation is going to be like going forward with Shields' injury history, and Damaris Randall with a groin, concussion for Rollins. I mean, things are just adding up, and I want to know if we can win some games. So, Jordan, if it's heads, you're going to tell me that the Packers are going to be in trouble without these 3 guys, okay? And it is heads. Jordan, we are in trouble without our top 3 cornerbacks.
I would agree with that. Yes, I think the Packers are in. I think the Packers are in some serious trouble. I mean, looking at this schedule, particularly with the way the Bears have started out, I think most people, most football fans, let alone Packer fans and Bears fans, would chalk this up to a win for the Packers. But without those 3 guys on our defense, that is a pretty decent formula for a team that's you wouldn't describe as high voltage like the Bears to have a good game, to have a game where they do enough to actually beat us at Lambeau. This being the short week is really not working out well for us. After Randall goes down, the timing is not right. I would be surprised if Randall's good enough to go for Thursday after just aggravating it yesterday. Shields, there's no reason to think he's playing. Rollins, maybe Rollins played, but if all 3 of those guys are out, it's going to be tough. It's just going to be tough. They're not stacked with weapons. It's not, like I said, it's not a high power offense, but if there was ever a time for a team to get off the schneid and play well on offense, it'd be against this secondary right now, the way it is. So, yeah, there's a lot of reason to be concerned.
Okay. Dusty?
Yeah, I mean, there's reasons to be concerned, but the sky isn't falling. I mean, they've got like not tremendous depth there, and I mean, any team losing their top 3 cornerbacks, like obviously that's less than ideal. Those guys are starters for a reason, and the guys behind them are sitting behind them for a reason. But we've got Gunter, who granted had a tough game this past week. Had a couple. I actually made a GIF on demand for someone of Gunter just falling down, just stumbling backwards and just falling down. It broke my heart to make it, but
goodness.
At least he worked in a dab in there.
I like to help the people, you know. So, but he had 2 of those plays. He was kind of tough, but I mean, this week coming off, we got basically Alshon Jeffrey, and then I don't know, like some guys that work at a paint store or something. Like Eddie Royal. I guess Eddie Royal's good, but like he's quick at least. I like Gunter. I think Gunter's good. Dimitri Goodson's back. Which, not amazing, but I have a feeling he'll be able to step in and do just fine, at least for this week. I think Clinton Dix is great in the secondary, great back in safety, and Burnett is back as well. Burnett played a great game back. He's really solidified the back end of that defense, so they're going to sneak those guys up a little bit. Hyde's been tremendous in the slot. He's not an outside guy, but you can kind of put him, say, anywhere along the inside, even if you want to sneak Clinton Dix down for a little bit and put Hyde back. Like Hyde's versatile enough. I think between those guys, I mean, again, less than ideal, but they do have the talent to give people trouble. And if the run defense is decent, they can hold them down. And then if you also have the pass rush, which still has been very good. Again, they didn't get to Prescott too much. But again, that offensive line is one of the better ones we're going to face all year. So they'll be fine. That pass rush will get to them, and I mean, as we all know, if the pass rush can get there, it doesn't matter if the secondary is terrible. If you can just hold on for 2.5 seconds, you're fine. I feel like we got the pieces to do that, even with missing our top 3. So it's concerning, but it's not the end of the world.
Okay, I was about to give it to Jordan, solely based on the fact that Dusty said that you could pick up a player from a like a painter or something like that, and we all know that all the good off the street players that come to the league are used car salesmen.
That's right.
So
grocery store baggers.
Yes, or those two, but you definitely saved yourself at the end, and Jordan gets the big loss.
See, I told you I was going to get a win against Jordan. I knew it.
Everyone wins against Jordan.
Everyone wins against
It's a guarantee.
Everyone
Guaranteed.
wins against Jordan. As long as I am the host, everyone wins against Jordan. So,
Ooh, so this will be a second straight victory for me then.
Congratulations, Brian. Get your speech ready.
5 seconds of FaceTime coming up in 2 minutes.
So on this last coin toss that we got here, it's going to be between Brian and Jordan. And I want to know what is going on with our offense. Very much ailing right now. It seems like the sky is falling on this offense. I don't know where to turn to right now, and I need you guys to kind of decipher what's going on. And I think the two biggest things that we can point at right now, it's either the play of Aaron Rodgers, or it's the coaching staff as a whole that is running this offense. So if I flip the coin and it lands on heads, Jordan, you're going to tell me that Aaron Rodgers is the problem with this offense. And it is heads. Jordan, Aaron Rodgers is the problem with this offense right now.
Okay. Aaron Rodgers making a lot of money for this team. We've seen him play a lot of really, really good football over the past however many years, pretty much since he started for the team. The demeanor that he has shown, and certainly the performance that he's shown in this season, is incredibly troubling. He's doing things this year that he has never really done at a consistent basis. Just mechanics completely off. We're seeing throws like there are a couple. I can't remember exactly when in the game, but he had Cobb, I think on the 4th down play. Cobb had a step. I mean, he was by NFL definitions, he was open, and Cobb and Rodgers missed him. And simply, he had all the time in the world. The offensive line's giving him a ton of time to throw the ball, and he's not able to step into a throw and make that play that he's made dozens, hundreds of times in his career. That's very concerning. By all we know, he's not dealing with any injury issues. There's something going on. There's something going on mentally. There's something going on with his relationship with, I don't know if it's players, with coaches, but at the time, this is our quarterback. This is our leader on the field, and he is not living up to that title. And that should be very concerning for Packer fans. That's something that absolutely needs to change if we're going to have any kind of success this season.
Dusty, the coaching staff. Brian.
No, me. Brian, the coaching staff.
Take two. Brian, the coaching staff.
Well, Jordan made some good points, and that was cute. But it's time for real men to talk.
Jeepers.
Oh man.
All right, so clearly Rodgers is struggling. Clearly he's missed a lot of throws that he normally makes. He's not up to snuff. But I mean, what has changed? Nothing has changed. Like, the personnel is still there, the talent is still there, and when all those other things are equal, but the wins are gone, that's on coaching staff. And McCarthy has just done nothing to help Rodgers. You know, there's been, I mean, when the offense used to click, we used to have all those screenplays to Eddie Lacy where he would just turn nothing into 35 yards. That was a dynamite go-to play when you really needed a first down, was that screen to Lacy. I remember seeing that in the game yesterday and thinking, wow, when's the last time we actually did that play? That was amazing. And if I remember correctly, it got us a first down yesterday. Things like that work. Like the quick screens are gone. The quick slants are gone. They're just doing nothing to help him. And the other thing is, to extend it to the rest of the coaching staff, is I think they've done a poor job being too loyal internally and promoting guys too quickly. Edgar Bennett being the main example here. Couple years at running backs coach, couple years at receivers coach, and then he's put in last year at offensive coordinator. And I'm having a hard time thinking it's a coincidence that that's when our offense really starts to struggle. I think he's underqualified for that job. And I love Edgar Bennett. Loved watching him as a kid. I loved him as our running backs coach. And I thought he even did a good job with the receivers. But he is clearly not ready to be running an offense.
So, as I stated in the last coin toss, Jordan will always beat Brian. And that's how it's going to go. Jordan, congratulations. Jordan, you just beat...
Good job, Jordan.
Jordan, you just beat Brian.
Thanks, guys. It feels so good.
I just want to say that this election is rigged. My microphone was broken.
Yo, Adrian!
Jordan did a tremendous job. Brian, you were okay. You were a little crooked on it, but I will never, ever try Trump.
I was tremendous.
Trump.
I was brilliant.
I will never try Trump voice again in my life. That's a promise. But guys, very good coin toss segment. And speaking of very good things, there's a very good clothing line that sponsors us. Jordan, can you please tell us about this very good clothing line?
I can do just that, John. So, loyal listeners, the question that you all have to ask yourself is, do you have enough Packers gear? And the answer to that is definitely no. You do not. You definitely need more. And the best place to rectify this is Pride and Glory Clothing Company. It's a fantastic supply of shirts and sweatshirts for men and women alike. Add some flair to your closet, Packers fans. Check out prideandglory63.com. That's prideandglory63.com.
All right. And we have one of my long lost best friends joining us this week as our guest. His name is Brian Aviles, and he is one of the only Bears fans out there that I actually respect. So, Brian, welcome.
Hey, it's good to be here. You know, that means a lot coming from you, and I gotta say, you really make this show pop.
Ooh, thank you. I
like get him out of here.
In the famous words of Ted Thompson, I have sizzle. So
I'm just gonna go ahead and take a nap for this next segment. If you guys don't mind.
Oh, Brian! Now that we're done complimenting each other, let's start attacking each other.
Okay, sounds good.
Oh, the Bears! I mean, Packers-Bears. I mean, there would be the Packers-Bears rivalry. It just ignites fires amongst friends, families, and just creates enemies sometimes too. But I absolutely love it, and I think they need each other to coexist. And we're gonna bring our Packer fans in on what's been going on with the Bears this year. I know that we got a quarterback controversy to pretty much start things off, almost like last week with Prescott and Romo, where Cutler's going to be down for a few weeks here, and Hoyer stepped in, and he's done a pretty decent job, I would say. What's your take on what's going to happen when Cutler gets the okay from the doctors and he's ready to go?
Before Brian answers, can I just ask you if you really compared Prescott and Romo to Hoyer and Cutler?
Yes.
Did you really just do that?
Yes, I did.
Go ahead. I just want to start off by saying I don't know what it is that I've done in my past life or in my current life that God has put nothing but Packers fans in my friendship. I have no idea why that's the case. But to bring up this debate, we were talking about some stats before the show started that I thought would be very interesting to bring up. And I know, Dusty, you have some stats as well. Our offense right now with Hoyer, he's been putting up a lot of yards. He's been putting up 300 plus yards just about every game he's started. Hasn't thrown any interceptions. Our offense right now is ranked 7th in yards per game. But the big thing is we're last in points. And, Hoyer he's getting the yards. He's dinking and dunking us down the field. But when we get into the red zone, he just can't make the throws that elite level quarterbacks, not saying Jay Cutler is one of them, can make. And, honestly, 2 weeks ago, I was all for Hoyer. At the end of the day, I'm ready for Jay Cutler to no longer be our quarterback. I know I've been saying different the previous years, but now I'm done. We can't have him as our quarterback next year. But if we want to win games, I think Jay's our guy going forward. But that's not saying much. We don't have a lot going for us right now.
Okay, and I mean, you kind of brought up, just for you personally, like last year. So I'm gonna bring up last year. And last year, I mean, the Bears kind of had a relatively decent year, and now they're off to a pretty tumultuous start here. And what's been the big difference between the Bears of 2015 and the Bears we're seeing on the field now?
Well, even last year, I think our team has no identity. I mean, it wasn't long ago when we were known as the Monsters of the Midway, where we would have a guy. You guys can't see this. I'm rocking a Rex Grossman jersey right now.
Woo! Woo!
Yeah.
We had a guy like Rex Grossman as our quarterback, and our defense was good enough to carry him and carry the offense. And, now we just don't have any type of identity. When we got Cutler, they decided, which I don't know why, but they decided he was the guy to build around. And, since we started doing that, we've lost a ton of defensive talent. We've gone through multiple coaches. I mean, I don't know how many coordinators Cutler has had since he has been our starting quarterback. We have gone through many players. We've had guys like Brandon Marshall on our team, Martellus Bennett, Matt Forte, talented guys, and we just, for some reason, we can't get it done. And I think it's because we don't have a leader. You heard Martellus Bennett use some choice words to describe the guys on our team last week, and I think it was aimed towards Cutler. We have no guys who want to step up as a leader of this team, and for forever the front office wants to make Jay the leader. They've built around him, they've given him the talent, but he just doesn't have what it takes to lead this team, and because of that, we have no identity. But to go dig a little deeper on offense this year, we have no idea what we're doing. The first 2 weeks, you saw the big plays to Jeffrey. We would run the ball with Langford up to middle, not gain anything, and then we'd just throw a bomb to Jeffrey. Every other play, it seemed like we were trying to do a bomb. And, it wasn't working. So Cutler goes down, Langford goes down, we get Jordan Howard. We go a couple weeks, handed him the ball, and he does an amazing job. And honestly, I'm very glad for that pick, and I think he's going to be an excellent running back in the future. But then last week comes along and we stop handing it to him, and then we start doing nothing but, screen plays and dink and dunk. It's just every week, it's just they're throwing darts at a board saying, hey, what are we going to do this week? They have no idea what it is they're doing. Part of that's coaching. Part of that is we're limited with Hoyer. We're limited with Cutler. And so, yeah, we have to rely, on our offense to hold the ball, to do things, but when it comes down to it, they're not getting the job done. And then, to talk about our defense a little bit, we have so many injuries on our team right now. Last year we talked about Pernell McPhee a little bit, about how great of a player he is. And honestly, he could be the leader in the future for this team. But he's been out all year. We lose our excellent nose tackle, Eddie Goldman, to injury. We lost Kyle Fuller. We're losing all these guys on defense, and right now we have no pass rush. We have no playmakers, and I think a lot of it has to do with the injuries. But then at the same time, we don't have the depth. A lot of teams have injuries. That shouldn't be an excuse for us. But the defense just isn't getting the job done consistently. Guys like Willie Young, he steps up, he gets a sack from time to time, but play in and play out, we're not getting pressure on the quarterback. Our cornerbacks are not pressuring the receivers at all. Other than Bryce Callahan, honestly, we have no one in our secondary that's really doing a good job right now. So, yeah, there's really not a lot of good to say about this team right now, other than the fact that we, may get a number 2 pick and may be able to change the guard at quarterback next year.
And I guess the last question I want to ask you, I know that, Packer fans are kind of in a little bit of a confused mind state about where our front office is at. Where's like the state of Bears fans' minds at as far as the front office down in Chicago?
Man, we've gone through 2 different front offices in the last 5 years. I think this group that we've brought in, the guy that we brought in from the Saints. Well, I don't know why I'm slipping on his name right now, but he's done a pretty decent job. The biggest question mark is the first round in the draft. We move up to get Leonard Floyd, and he hasn't gotten the job done. He's supposed to be a pass rusher. He doesn't get any pressure to the quarterback. Now he's hurt. But then when he was in the games, we would have him go out in coverage because he couldn't rush the passer, which is what he is supposed to be good at. And then before that, we get Kevin White in the first round, and he was injured for his first year. I'll give them that. But when he came back, he did not look like an NFL receiver at all. He looked like a guy who came from a school like West Virginia that doesn't play NFL talent, that just gave him the ball and let him outrun people because he was better than everyone else. But now he's in a league where the cornerbacks are just as equally as good as he is, and he just doesn't get the job done. And now he's hurt. And then the year before that, we decide to get a cornerback in Kyle Fuller. He made a couple good plays his first year, but other than that, he can't cover anyone. So our front office needs to do a better job when it comes to first round picks. But then, they've hit some home runs. They've got, like I said, Howard before. He was a 5th round pick. He's been an excellent running back. We got Adrian Amos in the 5th round the year before. He's been a very good safety for us. And we got guys like Bryce Callahan, who was an undrafted rookie last year, who is our best corner and is going to be the nickel for the future. So they've hit on some unknown guys, but they can't get it done when it comes to the first round.
And I'm gonna give you a bonus question. I know I said the last question was the last question, but I'm gonna give you a bonus question because I love your voice so much, and I want to know what the Bears have to do to beat the Packers, and then to end that question, I want you to give me what you think a final score prediction is going to be for Thursday night.
Okay, before I do that, I wanted to bring up Dusty. He made fun of our receivers, and I gotta say, I like Eddie Royal, and I think Cameron Meredith. He's another guy who was an undrafted rookie last year who has been excellent. That being said, for us to do well, you guys have mentioned that your cornerbacks are down, so we need to find a way to get the ball down the field. The screen passes will work. Try to have your cornerbacks miss tackles. But every once in a while, we need to test you guys deep. And I think if Hoyer can do that, if he can continue to not throw interceptions, if our defense can do what it did last year against you guys in the Thanksgiving game, I think this will be a good game. But that being said, everything has to go perfect for us to win. And everything will not go perfect. We will not get touchdowns in the red zone. We'll have Connor Barth miss field goals. And because of that, I say you guys, it's close at first, but you guys probably win by a 2-score game. I say you guys win by 10.
Okay. Well, Brian,
I want to put on the record, I don't retract my insult about the Bears.
I mean, Brian, you started something, and Dusty had to get a word in. It's been brought. It's been brought. But Brian, it is always nice to hear from you, buddy. I hope you're doing well, and I miss your face, and hopefully we'll be able to see each other soon. But until then, go Pack, go, and downward for the Bears for forever.
Hey y'all, thanks for having me. Good luck the rest of the year for you guys. Obviously, I don't want you to win, but I want your podcast to do well.
Thank you, Brian, and yours,
nice.
and yours.
That's nice.
And yours as well. You have a podcast yourself. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about it, Brian?
Yes. I have a podcast that's called Buckets Podcast. It's kind of a weird podcast. It was me and my friend Ian. One day said, "Hey, we love talking basketball. Let's get a mic in front of us." I'm a Bulls fan. He's a Cavs fan. So it's kind of geared towards Bulls and Cavs. But we also talk a lot about the Eastern Conference and a lot about what's going on in the NBA. And we're going to be trying something out new. We used to be able to be in front of each other and do it weekly. But now we're going to be like you guys. He lives in Cleveland. I live in Cedarville, Ohio. So we're going to have to do it through phone or through whatever, through Skype. I don't know how we're going to do it. But it's been a lot of fun. So, yeah, check that out if you're a Bulls fan, if you're a Cavs fan, or just an NBA fan. Check out Buckets Podcast.
Brian Aviles, a man of many talents. Not only is he a Chicago Bears, one of the top Chicago Bears insiders, but also an NBA enthusiast slash podcast host. Brian, we appreciate you spending some time with us tonight, and good luck to your podcast, and hopefully we'll be seeing each other soon, bud.
Hey, one more thing. Go Cubs.
Go Cubbies. Okay. All right.
Producer, cut that part out, please.
All right. I will be moving on here with our coverage of the green and gold. Brian, what do the Packers need to do to beat the Bears this week?
All right. I'm going to be pretty brief on this because I don't know, I had a couple physical things they needed to do, but what it all comes down to is they need to get their heads out of their collective rear ends. It's the mental part of this game that they need to figure out. They're coming off a short week off of a really difficult loss where very few things went right. And that's a hard turnaround to make. And they have no choice. They have to make that turnaround. They really need to show up confident. They need to show up ready to go. Doesn't matter who's on the field or not. We are the better team in this scenario. And with an offense that is almost completely healthy, there is no excuse for us not to put up a lot of points on this Bears team. So get out there. I mean, keep it simple. Just short throws, screen passes, whatever you got to do. Keep it simple and things will open up over the top. It's all mental in my mind.
Final score prediction, Brian?
Now, I said there's no excuse for us not to put up a lot of points, but I still don't think that we will.
Okay. Okay.
But I do think we'll win it. I'm gonna say 2017 Packers.
Okay, very very close game, edge of the seat game. Dusty, give us some numbers about this game coming up.
All right, man. So Brian mentioned that I had some stats on Hoyer, and I do. So I'm going to go ahead and bring those up. So that's the two things I'm going to look at is Hoyer and then something with the Packers offense. So I looked at all of Hoyer's starts in his career and just basically broke them up by starts before this season and starts after this season and kind of looked for trends. He is playing better this season as far as like career averages go. But I have a very, very hard time believing that Hoyer suddenly got better, which means some of it is probably the dink and dunk stuff Brian was talking about. Some of it's just luck, man. There's no way Hoyer suddenly got better. So he's jumped, just looking at these past 4 games, which, small sample size. He's completing over 11% more of his passes than he was throughout his career. The big one is, so his interception percentage throughout his career is 2.55. So that's 2.55% of his pass attempts have gone for interceptions. His career was 32 passing. The career as a starter, I should say, 32 passing touchdowns and 22 interceptions. This year, he has 6 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. If we look at what his career interception percentage was and apply it to how many attempts he's had this year, which, man, like, so many attempts. He's had so many attempts this year. He should have thrown, just given his numbers, he should have thrown 4.5 interceptions through his first 4 starts here in Chicago. So he's going to throw some ball ups for grabs. And I mean, just looking at his 4, these are his attempts for his 4 games so far: 49, 36, 43, 49. That's preposterous because, like, he's Brian Hoyer, right? Like, he's not a great quarterback. And Brian mentioned, and this was part of the identity thing, like, they've got decent running backs. Langford's good. I really, really like Howard a lot. And they're asking Hoyer to throw. His lowest attempts was 36. That's preposterous given the fact that they can actually run the ball every now and then. So he's going to put ball up for grabs. Now, whether or not the Packers can capitalize on that, I don't know. They have 3 interceptions on the year. They have a handful that they dropped. Of those 3 interceptions, one of them was one where Demarius Randall tore the ball away from a Lions receiver, which counts as an interception, but man, wasn't really a clean reception. It's kind of more of a fumble than anything else. So if you look at that, it's basically 2 interceptions on the year. They do have some they dropped, but they haven't really been a ball hawking defense, and they're going to need to be. I believe Hoyer is going to throw some up. The run defense, as we talked about earlier, they're good. They're not as good as they looked, but they should be able to slow down, maybe even shut down this Bears running game, which puts it on Hoyer. And again, the lowest amount of attempts Hoyer has on the season is 36. Hoyer's going to throw the ball, and he's going to throw some balls that can get picked off, and the Packers just need to take advantage of that. So that's my Hoyer stuff. I've got more, but I'll stop talking about Hoyer because if you say his name too much, it doesn't sound like a word anymore, and so it's kind of it's freaking me out. So I'm just gonna move on. So the second thing I wanted to look at that I'll get through real quick is I engaged in some very irresponsible stat making. I basically looked at we were talking so. We went to go watch this game at a local sports bar, me and a couple friends and one of my brothers. And we all kind of were talking about how when Davante Adams went down, now I want to say I've wished injury on maybe 2 professional athletes the entire time I've been alive. So I don't wish injury on anyone, especially not my own players. But we noticed how the Packers seemed to be moving the ball a little better when Davante Adams went down. And he went down with a concussion. So I don't know if he's going to be playing this week. It seems on a short week, I have a hard time that they're going to actually play him with a concussion. I don't think he's going to pass that protocol. Anyway, so I actually wanted to look to see if that was accurate, if they actually did move the ball better without Davante Adams. So they ran 40 plays or 40 passing plays, I believe. No, 40 plays with Davante Adams, 25 without. And then the attempts they had 25 passing attempts with Adams in the game and 17 after Adams left the game. So if we look at just the passing attempts, now again, this is when Adams was in the game. Rodgers completed 68% of his passes for 146 yards, which was 5.8 yards per attempt, no touchdowns, 1 interception, QB rating of 66.4. After Adams went down, now, again, this is irresponsible because it's not taking a whole lot of things into account, such as score of the game, they're going to be passing more, whatever. There's context and everything. But going down this irresponsible path, 25 attempts before Adams went down. After he went down, 17. Rodgers went 14 for 17, which was a little over 82%, as opposed to 68% when Adams was in the game, for 148 yards, for 8.7 yards per attempt, up from 5.8, with 1 touchdown, no interceptions, 122.5 QB rating. So the numbers jumped up a lot. For the game, Rodgers finished with 73%, but again, over 82% when Adams was out of the game. And that was with some drop passes. I know we've said Adams has been not the problem, but he's been a problem. And 17 passes is an extremely small sample size, which is why I want to stress that this is just severely irresponsible, but it's apparently not irresponsible enough for me to stop talking. But 17.
There's nothing that can get you to stop talking.
Apparently not. This scotch is real good, you guys, real good. But I mean, 17 attempts is a small sample size, but not super small. And again, I mean, this is kind of one of those things where we always thought Adams was kind of holding down parts of the offense. And I don't want to say this is proof that he was, but man, these stats are really hard to ignore. Adams off the field meant Montgomery got a little more playing time, and Janis saw the field a little more. Aberderis was out there a little bit. It got guys on the field that we've been talking about for the better part of a year, saying, man, we need to get some of those guys on the field. Montgomery was out with an injury, but he's been fine this year, and he just hasn't been in. So Adams been off the field, got some other guys a chance to get in. Offense was moving better, a little too late. Adams may not play this week, and I'm really, really curious to see how they do. If they're able to move the ball a little better, maybe that finally convinces the coaching staff to maybe dial back Adams' snaps a little bit. So that's my stat numbers. We had Hoyer, and then we had pre and post injury Adams. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. If I'm looking for a couple interceptions from Hoyer, at least 3 interceptable balls, and I'm looking for if Adams is out, just looking to see what they can do on offense. I'm looking for them to move the ball pretty well.
Do you have a prediction on the final score, Dusty?
Yeah, I do. So Brian had it going low. I'm going to go a little higher just because I think, again, with turnovers, I think they're going to be able to stop the Bears running offense a little bit and force the pass, and I think the turnovers are going to factor into it. I'm going to go ahead and say Packers 27-14.
27-14. And Jordan, I don't want a lot of jibber jabber out of you, but give me a final prediction on your score.
I'm more with Brian right now on the the final score prediction. I think it's gonna be low scoring. I don't have a lot of faith in the offense right now. I'd love for them to prove me wrong, but I'm looking at more a 20-16 game.
Woo! Going all
awesome.
weird on that one.
Yeah.
I'll keep it a little bit weird too. I'll go 23-20. That's a very weird score in NFL football. And Packers will win this game 23-20. Jordan, do we have any Twitter questions this week?
It's funny you asked that, John, because we actually do have a couple of Twitter questions.
It's not that funny that he asked, Jordan. It's just a normal question.
He seems to find it very funny.
Oh my goodness, Jordan, please start talking. Please.
All right. First Twitter question.
No, let's just keep laughing, everybody.
First Twitter question comes from Danny Sherman with the creative Twitter handle of @DannySherman. On such a short week, what can the Packers do to get a decimated secondary ready to play on Thursday Night Football? #call Troy Brown. Now I'll be completely honest. I had no idea what that reference meant, so I had to look it up. Apparently, back in 2004.
Come on, man.
Do you guys remember this? I do not remember this.
Yes.
No recollection for me at all. Apparently, Troy Brown.
You're fired.
Pretty decent career as a Patriots wide receiver. Had 3 interceptions as an emergency cornerback. I did not know that.
Wow.
I don't remember
Danny
that.
Sherman.
That's a great. I love it. That's a blast from the past. And
Danny Sherman, if you are listening, we are looking for somebody to fill the role of our 4th podcaster here since Jordan is out. We cannot have somebody who was unaware of Troy Brown's impact on the 2004 Patriots podcasting for us every week. So drop whatever you're doing.
So anyway,
I don't want someone. Oh, go ahead, Jordan. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna try to direct us back to the question at hand. So what can the Packers do to get this secondary ready for Thursday Night Football?
I mean, we kind of covered this earlier. I mean, they're if they don't have their starting cornerbacks in, which I doubt they're going to have, so man, they're going to have to get creative. They've got some pieces at cornerback with Gunter and Goodson back, and I don't know, just Hyde and whoever. They're gonna have to get really creative. This is the times when I kind of get a little excited, just because it's they look like they're going to be bad and they have to be creative to be passable. And so this is where Capers can really shine if he stays awake. They're gonna have to they're gonna have to be very creative, and I'm excited to see what happens. But I think they've got the pieces to do it, especially against the Bears receivers. Yeah,
it's a big game, particularly. Oh, go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
The answer, I'm pretty sure Antonio Cromartie is a free agent. So if you can get him to come on and bring all 17 of his kids onto the field with him, they can totally blanket cover one receiver.
Just put him in a big coat like Vincent Adult person, and they'll be fine.
Yeah,
they'll
dude.
Cover him.
It's like all the kids at a home run derby that are fighting for like the ball in the air, like pushing each other
That's
over.
precisely what I had in mind. That's beautiful. Just have them all stand in the end zone, and Brian Hoyer will just play a big game of 500.
I feel like Alshon Jeffrey is not. It's not over his head to kick a kid in the face.
No, absolutely.
If it comes down to it. I mean, Brian, I think you said it a couple weeks ago where you were like, Capers kind of shines best when his back is up against the wall, and yeah. I would say right now more than ever, just based on this last performance, that he's got to come up with something, and no one in Packer Nation really knows what moves are going to be made, but I think defensively, Capers has to find something. I don't know if I necessarily have the answer, but Capers kind of comes through in situations like this, so it'll be interesting to see what he comes up with. But I do kind of have a little bit of faith this week. So
there we go. All right, we got another Twitter question from Josh Shack, our good friend,
always
at Arm and Hammers. Despite it not showing on paper this week, are we seeing improvement from this young defense? So again, kind of another question about the defense, but even with this hiccup, are we seeing improvement from the young guys?
Yes, absolutely. Overall, I mean, one game where we get gashed and gashed bad without Des Bryant, it looks more like a blip than it does anything else. I don't know, the way these young linebackers have played, the way the pass rush has played, and as Dusty said earlier, this is probably the best offensive line in football. You can't give enough credit to the Cowboys for their offensive line and running game. That just imposed their will on us. But yes, this young defense is improving.
Yeah, I mean, I'll basically jump on that as well. That's basically what I was thinking. I've been, if I'm being honest, I've been slightly disappointed with Blake Martinez. But my disappointment with Blake Martinez.
You bite your tongue.
He hasn't been he hasn't been very good. Like he's been
rookie.
Great. He's not been great against the run, which we knew, but he also hasn't been great in coverage, which has been problematic. But I will say that he is having time to sit a little more. His snaps have diminished a little bit because Joe Thomas has been so good, and he's not like super young. But Thomas was a guy that was signed last year to basically a 1-year deal that was, I think, for $2.5 million. That was kind of a, why would you pay that much money to a special teamer? And I was excited about him then because I kind of saw him as like a hybrid, see him as that hybrid role, almost like the, not quite the same, but like the Joker role that Woodson used to play. He could play a couple different positions, and that didn't happen last year, but it's happening this year. He's been bonkers good. And then Jake Ryan has taken a step forward, and Perry's not necessarily young, but he's been great. And when with Pennell being down, we got to see more of Kenny Clark, and Clark has been dynamite. Like a lot of young guys on this defense have looked really good. Fackrell's made a couple really nice plays. He's somewhat limited in his move, but he's looked good. So you can see these guys slowly getting better every week, and it's been very, very exciting. They've got a long way to go, but they've been good, and I have seen improvement as the week gone on. So I mean, it's a bad matchup for them, but I'm very excited about a lot of the young guys in this defense. And really, I mean, what it take only focusing solely on defense in the draft for like 10 years to finally have a good defense again? That's good job, guys. Really, really proud of you.
It's kind of been unfortunate with all this negativity that's kind of been thrown around about, the offense essentially and a little bit of the secondary, that these young linebackers are playing some phenomenal football, and it takes away from what they're doing. Obviously fans are going to talk about what they want to and things like that. But these young guys deserve a lot of credit as to these 3 wins that we have on this season, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely something to be optimistic about, not just the rest of this season, but the future season. So, but I echo a lot of you guys' points. All right, and the last Twitter question we have is from Matt, which is at Call Me Matub. Apologize if I butchered that. I really have no idea how to say that. But his question his question was simply a GIF of a man beating his head against a desk, asking why. Yes.
GIF.
A GIF? Is that what you said, Brian? A GIF?
GIF.
Okay. I thought I heard you right.
I think I'm just really happy to know that the last name of that person was not Jameson, because that would have been a really awful. That would have been a really awful Twitter question if it was from my brother.
The answer, Matt, is like, man, we don't know, man. Just it's probably something you did poorly in your life that led to this.
Most likely.
Dusty, we don't throw shade like that at one of the 5 people that give us questions.
Oh, I thought I was on mute.
It's not Dusty, it's the Scotch.
Don't even sweat it, dude. Matt can totally take it. He can.
Love you, Matt.
Oh, we all love Matt, and we also love when we get to the segment called Final Thoughts.
Because that means we get to hear Jordan say his last words for the night.
And we will conveniently put Jordan last. So, so Brian, what are your final thoughts this week?
All right, I have 3. First, I feel like I'm really in the minority here based on what people say on Twitter, but I really like these color rush unis. I'm pumped to see us in all white. I don't know. I saw Packers post a little picture of them. I just think they look really fun. I'm looking forward to it. I wish we could have gone all green. maybe, or I don't know. I did not want to see all yellow. I thought the concepts of that looked awful, but I'm pumped about this. And I'm thinking that Pack to the Future should really be selling some Color Rush t-shirts. They'll just be plain white t-shirts, and they'll be $35 a piece. But I don't know, on the packaging or something, we'll write Color Rush. All right, final thought. Okay, so as I said last week, I've been more supportive of Capers this year. Just is a concerted effort that I've been making. I hadn't really said anything about it in the first few weeks. I finally say something positive about Dom Capers, and our defense goes and just craps the bed this week. So, and I'm quite confident that this has happened in the past as well. When I finally say nice things about Dom Capers, our defense has a terrible performance. So I will no longer be saying anything about Dom Capers. Still trying not to say negative things, but I am not allowing myself to say positive things. So there it is.
I feel you, Brian. I feel you on the Capers. I feel you on the Capers topic. And
you can find me on Twitter at PTTF_Brian, and don't forget to follow our podcast account at PTTF_podcast.
Okay, Dusty, what are your final thoughts tonight?
Since Brian had 3, I don't want to be left behind. I'm also going to do 3. I'm going to try to make them quick.
Okay, fine, but then Jordan doesn't get any.
Okay, that's fine. I'm cool with that. And actually, Jordan loses one next week, so that's as long as we're all on board with that. Okay, first one. So our boy Brian Avilas said that he was, quote, rocking a Rex Grossman jersey. Dude, like, no one has ever actually rocked a Rex Grossman jersey. Like, you can wear it, man. Like, that's cool, man. You can wear it. But, like, even Rex Grossman didn't rock a Rex Grossman jersey. So, you know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man.
His mom did, though. His mom did.
Would it be better if it was a Rex Grossman Florida jersey? That'd make it any better.
I am a Florida fan. I grew up in Clearwater. I was living in Clearwater when I started paying attention to college football. So I would prefer a Florida Grossman jersey. So you can, man, Brian, you can do that all day, brother. Just wear that Florida Grossman jersey. If you want to go someone who played for the Bears and also played for Florida, really go old school. Go Shane Matthews. Buy that Shane Matthews Bears jersey you've always wanted, and I'll support that. I'll support that. Second thought is. Man, you guys, there's a trailer for the new John Wick movie, and it looks just bonkers good. So, I don't know if you've seen the first one. The first John Wick is dynamite. But if you have not, watch it because it's awesome. Not even making fun. It's really, really good. And the trailer for John Wick 2 also looks great. So I am very, very excited for John Wick 2.
It has Keanu Reeves, man.
Dude,
there hasn't been a Keanu Reeves movie I haven't liked.
I didn't know.
Okay, moving on.
John. Man, you guys seriously watch John Wick. It's unreal. We introduced a friend of mine to it just a couple months ago, and he was like, I should have known about this forever ago. I really should have watched this. So watch John Wick and then talk to me after that. Final thought. So last week I talked about bad quarterback games, which Josh Shack apparently watched the game that I recommended, which I do not recommend you actually do, but it seemed like he had a really good time with it. So I'm going to continue on that tradition, except I am going to kind of switch it up a little bit. Instead of bad quarterback games, I may just look at like some of the cheapest tickets every week and then just kind of call those out. So as of the current time, I think listed on StubHub. So the cheapest ticket for this upcoming week, and this is crazy to me, but not overly crazy, is the Chargers at the Falcons. Now, the reason it's crazy is because the Falcons' offense is amazing. And the Chargers' offense is actually really good. And both those defenses are terrible, which means that game is going to be like, they're each going to put up 70, and it's going to be awesome. It's not shocking to me because like no one in Atlanta cares about the Falcons just even at all. But right now, like on StubHub, it's insane. You can buy tickets for that game for $34.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think every week I'm going to pick either a bad quarterback matchup or just like really, really cheap tickets.
The lowest StubHub price.
Yeah, maybe just the lowest StubHub price. So lowest StubHub price right now is Atlanta San Diego, which could actually be a good game. So if you're in that area, man, hit that up. I'm actually kind of excited about that game. So those are my 3 final thoughts.
And what's your Twitter handle, bro?
I am at Dusty Evely.
All right, Jordan. It's time for us to hear your voice.
Oh, it's a good time for all of you then.
And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us.
Sorry, Matt Damon. We didn't have time for you tonight.
I got a couple final thoughts real quick. One, I don't know how much if we even brought this up. I honestly don't remember, but something that needs to happen in the next couple days is the Packers need to get someone to back up Eddie Lacy for this next game. Not having a viable backup for Lacy is something that's pretty inexcusable. Considering Lacy had a pretty good game, it's especially inexcusable that we just didn't have someone to fill in the other carries where he wasn't able to be on the field. So they need to address that before this week. Also, I'm trying to figure out something to listen to while I'm watching the Packers game, because I can handle most commentary duos, but I cannot listen to Jim Nantz and Phil Simms call a football game. So
Get him.
I'm really trying to think of something to listen to. So if you have any suggestions, I'm open to them, because it can't be them two.
The soundtrack for Gettysburg, or
it's a fantastic movie.
That's Jordan's favorite movie of all time.
I love that movie.
Top 5 for me, and that soundtrack is so good. So do that, or the Luke Cage soundtrack. Have you not heard the Luke Cage soundtrack? It's insane.
I've heard the show is good. I haven't heard anything about the soundtrack, but I've heard the show is good.
Adrian Young and one of the guys from, I believe, Public Enemy did it. And Adrian Young is one of my favorite producers. Those are your 2 picks, Jordan. That'll get you through, brother.
I'm down.
Alternative option for you, Jordan.
Yes.
You call me when the game starts and just put me on speaker, and I will announce the game in my Donald Trump voice.
That would make it entertaining. That'd be
I was gonna say, if I had a nickel for every time Jordan mentioned Gettysburg in high school, I'd almost be able to repay all the money he's loaned me throughout the years.
I think that's why we get along so well, Jordan. This is the 3rd time Gettysburg has come up in everyday conversation with me today alone. So I'm here.
That's
for
a good
it,
day.
buddy.
That's a good day.
It is. It's a normal day.
And my final thoughts on this beautiful Monday evening here. Number one, I have never met this person in my life, but he has been part of our fantasy football league for quite some time, and his name is Taylor. I've never met him before in my life, but I've developed some form of like a hatred towards him because he always has this like great football team, and I just need to beat him so bad. And I know I always bring up fantasy, I feel, in these final thoughts, but it's just like friends talk about fantasy, and all of you listening are my friends, and I just want to let everyone know that I crushed him, and that made me so happy, and that kind of feeds into my other final thought that's making me very happy, and that's in Wisconsin this week. We are looking at 70-degree weather throughout the whole week. And that is just, there's always like that couple week stretch of the year where it's always just the most perfect, beautiful weather. So if you're listening to us from Wisconsin, please get out and enjoy this beautiful weather just once more before the snow starts falling next week. And get out golfing, do whatever you do. But that's my PSA for all of my fellow Wisconsinites.
There we go.
And closing out, I want to thank our guest Brian Aviles for joining us. Always great to have him on, and it's just nice to find a Bears fan that actually makes logical points. And
One in a million.
And last but not least, Packers Bears is one of my favorite games of all time, and I look forward to it this week. I look forward to the Packers getting back on track and dominating the Bears, and being able to talk some crap to all my Bears fans that I call friends, I guess. So, anyways, Packer fans, enjoy the rest of your weeks here. Get ready for Thursday because it's going to be a doozy, and we look forward to having you back next week. Adios.
See you.